guys, welcome back to my channel, Happy Girl Alaska. I am your girl Terry, and if you are new here, welcome. So I've said this in previous videos and I'll say it here again. Summer is on the downswing and autumn is pretty much in full effect. So fall in Alaska is usually pretty short. So it begins in September and ends somewhere around mid-October time frame. While I am kind of mourning the loss of the nice, vibrant summer weather, I'm also pretty excited about fall. So let's get into the 10 reasons why I love fall in Alaska. Number 1, the beautiful fall scenery. I just love how the landscape begins to change. The leaves start turning gold, burgundy, brown. You still kind of have a few hints of green here and there. And I notice quite a bit when you wake up in the morning, you might see kind of like a low fog hanging over the mountains. And I mean, it's just so beautiful here. The beauty of the scenery during the fall is a lot different from summer because of course we have beautiful scenery in the summertime as well. But there's a certain type of warmth to the fall scenery. I know that may sound a little weird, you know, we start getting into lower temperatures and things like that. However, with the earth tones starting to kind of come forward and shine through, it just kind of gives a feeling of warmth and kind of an anticipation of the winter months to come. Okay, number 2. So around this time of the year is when we start seeing something that we refer to as termination dust. And basically, termination dust is signaling the termination or the end of summer and the beginning of transitioning into the winter months. So in certain areas, you can already see termination dust on the mountains. The area that I live in, you can't see it as much. But if you're out in the Wasilla area, a friend of mine lives out there and he sent me a picture of the mountain ranges on that side. And I mean, the snow is really inching its way down the mountain. So judging from the amount of snow that I saw in his pictures versus we don't have any snow on the mountains over here in Anchorage, I would say we're probably going to be getting snow around the usual time frame, which is mid to late October. And usually we have snow on the ground by Halloween. Okay, so reason number 3, and this is kind of bittersweet because when we start losing daylight, sure enough, that marks that we're going to be moving into the time of the year where we don't have as much daylight, so where we get down to as little as maybe 3.5 hours of daylight. But I would say when we start losing daylight, it makes it a lot easier to fall asleep. I find that I get a much more restful sleep when we start losing daylight because granted, I do have the blackout curtains, but I don't know, I think it's something that your body kind of picks up on knowing that you're getting less and less daylight, so you tend to sleep a lot better. And I notice too that I'm not waking up as easily in the morning, so I'm really an early bird, but I've noticed that I've started kind of hitting that snooze button a little bit more than I did during the earlier summer months. And around this time of the year is when the sun usually rises around 8 a.m. and then sunset is around 7:30 p.m. and then it gradually starts to go down from there. Okay, number 4. So around this time of the year, you have a much better chance of seeing the northern lights. So there's an area that's pretty close to Anchorage. It's a little bit of a drive out, but if you wanted to see the northern lights in the fall, if you head out to Eureka, Alaska, you should be able to get a pretty good sighting on a clear night. Again, a friend of mine told me they were out there a couple weeks ago, and sure enough, they saw the northern lights. They weren't as vibrant as they'll get when it's a little bit colder and a little bit clearer, but if you wanted to see them a little bit earlier in the year, then you could certainly head out to Eureka, Alaska, and I'm sure there are other locations if you wanted to see the northern lights. Okay, number 5. So the fifth reason why I love fall in Alaska is this is the time of the year. I don't know what happens. Either the mosquitoes start dying off. I don't know if they're hibernating. I don't know what is going on. All I know is you start seeing less and less mosquitoes. And so with that in mind, it's a lot more comfortable to go hiking. I know I harp on the mosquitoes quite a bit, and some people are like, oh, they're not that bad, and some people are like, yeah, she's telling the truth. But I would say either, in any case, around this time of the year, you can go hiking and not have to worry as much about wearing mosquito repellent, that kind of stuff. So it makes it, to me, a lot more enjoyable if you want to go on a hike because we have much less mosquito. Number 6, again, kind of going back to that whole hiking thing. So around this time of the year, the temperatures are in the 40s, the lower 50s, so it makes it really comfortable if you're wanting to go hiking. You may want to take a lightweight jacket with you. What I do oftentimes is I'll take a lightweight jacket, one that's light enough that I can tie around my waist, or if I'm carrying a backpack, I'll put it in my backpack. But usually around this time, I don't need it because, of course, when you're outside and you're hiking, you know, your temperature is going up and everything. But it's a good idea to bring a lightweight jacket with you during this time of the year. And again, we're in the mid to upper 40s and somewhere around the lower 50s during this time of the year. All right, so number 7, this reason is there are a lot less crowds, and the reason for that is tourist season is almost over. Now, we all know that tourism took quite a bit of a hit this year because of everything that was going on with the coronavirus. But around this time of the year, you know, if it was business as usual, the crowds kind of start fading out, dying down, and there are still tours and excursions that are available. You can still take trips by train, or if you want to go on a tour bus, you can still do that, and it's a lot more enjoyable because you're not having to worry about being shoulder to shoulder with other tourists who are wanting to explore the area. Okay, so number 8. Reason number 8 is that around this time of the year, you start seeing a lot better rates on hotels, Airbnbs, going back to the tours. You can get a much lower rate on those, different excursions and what have you. So in my opinion, and I like to play tourist. I'm one of those Alaskans who loves to play tourist. And a lot of times I will wait until this time of the year to book an excursion because going back to there are fewer crowds, but also because there are fewer crowds, there is a decrease in the hotel rates and all the other things that I just mentioned. So I would say if you're planning a trip and if you're wanting to plan a trip on a budget, you may want to consider visiting Alaska during the fall season. Number 9. So around this time of the year is when we have our beloved Alaska State Fair, which is located out in Palmer. Palmer is probably about maybe a 45-minute to an hour drive from Anchorage. Unfortunately, we did not have the Alaska State Fair this year because, again, everything that has been going on with the coronavirus and making sure that we're taking all precautions to make sure there isn't a spread of the virus or anything like that. But hopefully we will see a return of the Alaska State Fair in 2021. I'm keeping my fingers crossed because I think that because we didn't have it this year, there's probably going to be a lot of interest, a lot of folks heading out next year. So I think that's going to make it really exciting and a lot of fun. So the Alaska State Fair is an annual fair that's held out in Palmer. And it usually lasts for about a week and a half. And during the fair, they have live performances. They will feature local artists. They also fly artists up to perform at the Alaska State Fair. It's also known for having record-setting vegetables. There's also amusement parks. Of course, you have your different food concession stands. I would say if you want to get a little bit more information, or maybe to kind of virtually experience the Alaska State Fair, I do have a video on that, and what I'll do is include it in the description box. I remember when my daughter was little, she would really enjoy going to the petting zoo, so that was a lot of fun for her. Personally, I love going to the Alaska State Fair for the kettle corn, but in my opinion, there's something for everyone. So 2021, mark your calendars. Again, a reason that you might want to plan a trip to Alaska around fall season. All right, so here is my final and 10th reason for why I love fall in Alaska, and that is the fall fashion. So if you're into flannel, fleece, that kind of stuff, cool, do your thing. But I want to go on the record and say that you can be fashionable even if you live in Alaska. So for me, I tend to have a wardrobe that kind of follows me through the seasons, and I have certain items that I reserve for different times of the year. So for me, around this time of the year, I love wearing boots, leggings, cardigans, capes, sweaters. You know, we're getting into sweater weather. It's not quite winter just yet, but you can kind of get away with showing off those fall/winter outfits around this time of the year. I'm planning on making a video to kind of talk about the different items that are my fall/winter essentials, so be on the lookout for that. Okay, so there you have it. Those are the 10 reasons why I love fall in Alaska. So if you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up and comment down below, because I love to interact with you guys. Share the video if you know someone who may be interested in Alaska. And if you haven't subscribed to the channel, it's completely free, I promise. Go ahead and hit that subscribe button, all right? So I hope you all are doing well. I'd be interested to know if you like fall in the city that you live in or the country that you live in. I'm a little bit nosy, so feel free to share. All right, so until next time, take care. Bye.